So who's Vena? We're a mobile video SaaS SSP platform and ad server. What we do is we help online publishers, especially apps, make money through branded advertising programmatically. Our core target market is Asian apps and web publishers. We've run over 3,000 video campaigns regionally. We're profitable, independent, we have a cornerstone investor, and we're growing quickly. So in terms of some credentials, we've had R&D grants, tech developer grants via the Australian government. So the great thing about that is it obviously validates the technology. In terms of others, we've been a regional finalist at Echelon. We've also made third place at Tech in Asia, and off the back of that, we're invited to Russia via the Russian government to attend a big startup conference, which was quite an interesting time early in the year. So how do we make money for apps and websites? Well, firstly, we have a lightweight SDK that we integrate into these apps, and then that enables this new brand video ad revenue. And I'm sure you've seen these TV commercials in apps and also websites regionally. What we do then is we connect that inventory to global demand sources on a real-time basis to over 120 of these globally. So here's some sample ads that we've run recently, and the key thing here is, and one of the first questions we get from publishers, especially editors, is they're very intrusive. They're obviously a big canvas. Now, the key thing here is that the editors themselves and the apps, they have complete editorial control. We don't control that. That's up to them. We're completely neutral. We're an enabler. So in terms of the journey, here in terms of how our proprietary automated software works, in the top right-hand corner you can see the consumer. Then what we do as the SSP, we work with the publisher to create that inventory. We then connect that to exchanges, DSPs, advertisers themselves, and of course media agencies. Under the bottom of that, we pass through all of the data that pertains to each individual ad impression. Then that, coupled with the data provided by the data source, by the demand sources, they can overlay their own data to see how valuable each individual ad impression is. And of course, for the publisher, the great thing is they get control, transparency, and obviously higher margins. Best of all, the actual publisher themselves doesn't need any video content. Now, one of the single biggest challenges for apps and online publishers is the cost of video content, CDNs, hostings, and it's very, very expensive. But the great thing is, with our technology, our software, they don't need any of that, so we do it all for them. So, in terms of some of the key problems, and these are more prevalent even as you scale up in Asian markets. So first of all, non-paying users. On average, paid subscription levels are at around 95 to 98% of consumers don't pay for content. That's even higher in Asian markets. So it's a simple value exchange. Also, for free apps, especially for Asian markets, where they're largely cash-based economies. So the other thing too is, secondly, it can be very fragmented or early stage. And also there's some key issues around latency. Now, latency, in simple terms, it's the ability to deliver a video brand ad very quickly. If you don't, you time out, and it's a lousy consumer experience. The great thing is we do that via our algorithm, our adaptive bitrate approach. So we alter the size of the video file depending on the connection speed of the user. Best of all for the consumer, we don't chew up a heap of data whilst we deploy that brand ad. We also have localised servers. So we partner with localisation experts to bring the lowest latency possible and we auto-select to the server closest to the end consumer, even if they're a regional area outside of KL, outside of Jakarta, outside of Singapore. So, in terms of some of our core values, three key themes here: real-time information, transparency, and viewability. So when we talk about real-time information, we're talking about actionable insights in real time, so that advertisers and publishers can actually look at the data, and make it. The data we provide is literally within 8 minutes at a time. So it's not 5-hour delays or a day-old data, or indeed post-campaign data. It is real time. So if you think about the metrics on videos, especially for brand campaigns, completions or views or whatever it might be, or click-through rates, and then also forecasting off the back of that. In terms of transparency, we provide the exact URL, the exact app ID where the actual ad's been shown. We provide all the information that brand advertisers need in terms of reporting. And we also deploy header bidding. And then obviously over the top of that, we provide all the normal targeting characteristics. In terms of viewability, we're compliant with all the typical global IAB standards and guidelines around VPaid and also open RTB. In terms of getting that verified, we're partnered with Moat, which is the global leader in terms of independent verification of viewability. So how does Vena make money? What's the revenue streams? So there's 2 key revenue streams here. One, a SaaS self-service model where we train up and we basically get the publisher monetises all of this new inventory themselves. Typically, we'll make 20% rev share off the back of that. And then there's also a fully managed approach where we do all the work, we do the monetisation, and we leave the publisher to focus on what they do best, which will typically be content, driving traffic, driving subscriptions. On top of that, we also have a full ad-serving technology within our proprietary ad stack. So, in terms of the UI, on the right-hand side, this just gives you a flavour of some of the analytics that we provide to our trading partners. The key thing is, as I mentioned earlier, full ad serving, fully programmatic RTB enabled, the ability to do complete self-serve, and that's something that not many SSPs actually truly offer. We also have a really neat custom and white-labelled reporting process. So what that means is, let's say, for example, a local app publisher is trading with an ad network who's then selling the inventory to a media agency, like a Mediacom, and then they're passing it on to the end advertiser, Procter & Gamble, for example. We have basically this on an anonymised, white-labelled approach so that they can automate all that and literally just refresh the URL on a per day, hour, minute basis, whatever they want to do. But the key thing is, it's a very scalable way for operations teams to run hundreds, if not thousands, campaigns themselves without having significant high-touch, labour-intensive processes. In terms of what's coming, a couple key things I just wanted to point out. One is virtual rewards and CPI. What that means is the ability to do cost per app install type campaigns. And obviously, we're focused on brand currently, but if you think about the performance side, it's a huge opportunity for us and certainly a huge opportunity for our publisher partners. The second one I wanted to mention, and this is something we've had really strong interest from, was telco automated billing integration. So we're getting regional telcos quite interested in the platform as well because they have their own ops teams and their own ability to do these direct sales themselves. So what value do we add for the advertisers? Well, first of all, it's viewable inventory and we pass on all the information to the actual advertisers. Also, we're global, programmatic, RTB enabled. So they can connect through their one interface, whatever they might be using. It might be any sort of buying DSP or ad exchange that they're using, they can access. We bring new apps, new formats, new geographies, and new targeting. So this is really important. We do that at scale. What we are not doing is literally just bringing to advertisers the same traditional media companies and adding no value, and quite often what happens is literally just repping the same inventory and asking for more money. That's no value add for the advertiser. And then importantly, they can take their data, they can apply it to this new inventory, this new audience, And then what we do on our side is for every ad that's actually shown, we'll provide back complete transparency. So if you think there's up to 13 parameters that we insist for each ad that's shown. So if you think about app ID, user ID, operating system, handheld device, latitude and longitude, if you want to do hyper-local targeting, let's say you're a retailer like KFC or McDonald's, for example, you can do all that. The ads themselves, especially on the app partners of ours, they're full screen. They're a large canvas. They're compelling and interactive. So if you look at this movie campaign example, you can see here, full screen, but this was actually an interactive unit. So what that means in simple terms is that you can have a multitude of information all within the one ad unit without the consumer leaving. So here we had multiple movie trailers. We had a little bit about the actors. We had where to purchase tickets. And this was all within the actual ad unit, and every single interaction was mapped. Typically, performance will be much higher, and obviously, if performance in the canvas is bigger, we get much higher rates for the end publishers. So in terms of our target market and size, it's very much the 300 million plus Asian mobile consumers. They're forecast to grow by 3 million per month for the next 4 years. In terms of the app publisher's size, it's 250,000 plus across the region. These apps are unlikely to be earning any video ad revenue currently. Really important point. For in-app advertising, that is non-gaming apps, this market is forecast to grow from $24 billion US to $85 billion by 2020. And the key thing also, just in finalising this, is that it's one of the fastest growing ad segments in marketing, in advertising. So if you think about Asian market growth, mobile video, it's growing incredibly quickly, and you only need to look at some of the Facebook, NASDAQ announcements on their financials to see that. So in terms of our Asian strategy, so staff and culture, doing things incredibly quickly, onboarding local publishers in local languages, aligning pricing to the local cost bases. So obviously the cost base in Indonesia, for example, we need to align with that. Our target publishers in terms of verticals is everything from classifieds, telcos, utilities. If you think about utilities, this is everything from weather, transport, diet, health, nutrition. But there's literally thousands of these apps that haven't had monetisation thus far. We're focusing on low-touch, highly scalable app publishers and making it really low friction and easy to onboard these publishers and earn new revenue. Our team, very experienced. Some of the brands we've worked on the left-hand side of the screen there. 15 staff, half commercial and half tech developers. Some of our featured publishers here. Some of our key trading partners in terms of media agencies, trade desks, etc. A sample of some of our advertisers. So just in closing, with macro tailwinds, we see a really exciting time for Vena's software to help these publishers grow and prosper on a profitable basis in Asia. Thank you.